Welcome to Future Role Model, a podcast that praises the unconventional and redefines what it means to be a role model. And today we are live recording in Chicago at the People of Comedy Network with Mr. James Webb on the keys. I love to say that. I always love to say on the keys because I feel like you're just going to be over in the doing something. And we got Joey Villagomez.
Hey, how you
in
doing?
the house. It's good to have you, man.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
We've already started kind of like podcasting by nature and conversation.
Yeah, we had to like shut ourselves up a few times.
I know, exactly.
And we'll run out of good stuff to talk about.
And last week I was here with my grandma and recorded 2 episodes that we are going to release after your episode.
Oh, that's cool.
I wouldn't want to put you out after grandma because I don't know who can top grandma.
Well, I was going to say, it's kind of like with the cooking thing, you know what I mean? Like if you brought your grandma's dish and then I show up with the same shit.
Yeah, you're going to be like,
grandma didn't
really
make.
tater tot casserole, Joey? Thank you. Thanks
Mexican,
a lot.
I put nacho cheese on top of it, man.
Mexican tater tot casserole. That should be a thing. I bet that'd be delicious.
I'm pretty sure they have that somewhere.
Anything
at a baseball stadium or
any
something.
recipe that comes on the back of a can.
True.
You know any Mexican family has made in their own way.
Yeah, definitely.
Because like my family does it with our own Italian stuff. And
well, like manwich. Mm-hmm. Mexicans love manwich. The fucking sauce.
Really?
Yeah, we love that shit, dude. And we just add a little, a couple peppers to it to make it spicier.
Ooh.
Yeah, we eat it with tortillas, man.
See, and white people like to just cut up hot dogs and put that shit inside of everything.
Well, we do too. I do a whole bit about eating hot dog with egg.
What?
We chop up hot dogs and we fry it with egg. We scramble it with egg. It's called hot dog con huevo. And it's like, we go nuts for
con
it.
Huevo.
Yeah, we fucking go nuts for it.
Dude, that's awesome.
We grew up eating that. Like,
okay, so
con
I don't
huevo.
know if you party at all or if you have hangovers still like I have right now. But I feel like that's a great hangover food.
It is. I was going to say I have a great history of hangovers. I mean, I don't do it like I used to, but I have a history of bad hangovers.
Somehow, like, I don't really get bad hangovers. Like, I can't not function. How do you word that?
I know what you mean. Like, you know how some people are, like, sick?
Yeah.
Like, done. Like, they can't get out of bed.
I have 2 friends from high school that, like, when I hang out with them all the time, and I know in the morning that I'm going to be listening to them barf. Every time they brush their teeth, they barf. And I was like, I've never been that person.
Oh, okay. I've thrown up, but I've never been, like, I can't get out of bed. I would go to work.
Every time I'm in Chicago, because this city doesn't shut the fuck down. Like, LA, people have to go home. It's kind of smart that bars don't stay open past, like, they do last call at 1:30. It's just about when you're about to, like, make all the worst decisions.
Yeah, true.
And then they send you home, and you have to logistically figure out how to get everywhere.
Or end up at, like, somebody's house for the after party.
Yeah.
I've been to a bunch of those in L.A.
Yeah, but, like, to logistically get up to an after party house, it, like, sobers you up a little bit. So by the time you get to the after party,
it's like
you're
you start
kind
it
of
all
like,
over again.
Yeah, you got to start over
Probably
again.
stop that in and out on the way there.
Yeah, exactly. You have, like, a break.
Yeah, true.
And it's like a lunchtime in the middle of the night. But I used to bartend in Chicago at like the late night bars. And it was crazy. I worked right at the Hunt Club. It's not there anymore, but it was down
like what area?
It was down at the Viagra Triangle.
Oh, all right. Is that what they call it?
They called it that.
Right.
And
I didn't know that.
I don't know why, but I used to always joke with people that I was going to just sprinkle Viagra in all the drinks that I made and just have a bunch of dudes in my bar with boners.
Just
and
I
never did it. I really should have.
Dropping huge tips.
But it was like such an interesting thing to witness. It was like this wild watering hole. Like I would start my shift at like 11 p.m. and I'd be there until 6:30 in the morning when people were up walking their dogs. But I would make like $1,000.
It was worth it in one night.
Here's what we would do. We had 3 of us bartenders like in this oval kind of thing. And I worked with one of my best friends, Joel, and we were like butt to butt. See, we could just reach everything. So it was like super fast.
So you guys were just knocking drinks out,
So it was just
to
cash,
a bunch of dudes
cash.
on Viagra.
Yep, with a bunch of horny dudes with big boners just poking up against the bar undercarriage. And
that's hilarious.
All these guys, it would be like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, because the bar was open till 5 on Saturdays. And these guys would come in trying to find drugs. And I would say, for $100, I'll give you a dealer's number. And I'd make up a number.
Oh, shit.
And they'd go outside to call him, and I'd tell the security to not let him back in. We'd rake it in on those horny ass.
You should write at the bottom, like,
guys.
if the number doesn't work, at your own risk.
Yeah,
because they're drug dealers, dude.
I don't know what he's up to.
They got burner phones. He might have thrown the last one out.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I would tell them. I no guarantees, but once you go outside, you may not be able to come back in.
That's
just
hilarious.
Evil scheme.
Damn, I sold drugs in high school and got in trouble. I should have did that.
Did you really?
I should have just hung out in the rich neighborhood.
I know.
Be like,
see, that's two ends of the spectrum.
I'll give you the number 2, dude.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, you don't even have to have the fucking drugs on you.
No.
Just some crazy cokehead rich dude. Like, all right, yeah, give me the number.
People are so desperate. They'll pay for the information. They'll pay you for your knowledge.
Get to the next guy.
Exactly. Yeah. So you.
Well, like in the movies, they pull out like the.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, hey, man, do you know a guy?
Yep, exactly.
Like a fucking $100 bill.
I picture like Rodney Dangerfield or something, but like a drug dealer version. Because didn't he used to sell jokes? Wasn't that a thing?
I think he did. Yeah, he wrote a lot of jokes.
He would sell jokes outside of the comedy clubs in New York. Like write him, like had a pocket full of fucking jokes.
Dangerfields.
He would sell for like $1 or something. Or $5. I know. And
well, now you can't do that now because
I know.
You can post a Facebook status. And some comedian asshole's going to have your jokes.
Exactly. So. Tweet it. I mean, and people make a living off that, like the fat Jewish.
Yeah. I mean, shit. The memes.
I know.
A lot of shit.
I mean, and people want to hate on that, but it's like, well, fuck it. He's fine. He's doing just fine.
And
so I guess.
Also, as a comedian, I mean, we have to constantly just keep creating shit. So if somebody doesn't steal one of my whole bits,
right,
I'm not going to get mad. Like if somebody, you did that premise or... I heard that tag before. Then I'll fucking write a new tag.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, and that's how that's why I'm a storyteller, so I don't walk around.
Nobody can really steal a story that Natasha went through.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it's not going to feel genuine even if they tried.
And if somebody were to hear it that has heard your comedy, they can easily be like, that fucking sounds like Natasha's story. So it's easier to get caught.
When I still lived here in Chicago, there was a comic who called me one time at like midnight because he was at a mic and he was like, somebody's talking about being mixed. And I was like, well, are they mixed?
That's such a
He's like, but it's your joke. And I was like, it probably isn't. It's probably fine. Like, because my joke was really, it was like, it was when I was new. My jokes were like pretty fucking generic.
All right. I mean, like all of us.
My mixed person jokes were really generic. And I was like, they're probably doing it better. I'm going back to sleep. They can fucking have it. I never really had any issues with like stealing or anything like that.
Yeah, me either.
Did you? And you grew up here in Chicago, right? Because we've known each other kind of. I mean, we never really done like a powwow like this, but we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah. Because you know how like the comedy scenes are with social media.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like you already know who's doing shit and like we know you have this podcast. And,
we're all up in each other's business.
Yeah, because I mean, how like even the algorithms. I'm pretty sure Instagram knows who's
it
from
only
where.
shows us other comedians shit
that like you're from the same city you're from.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've heard of your name back when you lived here, and I was just popping up on the scene. I did a lot of the Mikey O stuff, and I kind of stuck to myself in the sense where I never, like, I've known a lot of comedians just from hearing names and seeing it on social media.
Yeah.
But I was never part of the CYSK clique. I was never part of the High Dive clique. I never got into.
I never had a clique either.
Yeah, so I feel when you do that, you get to know everybody, not just the same 15, 20 fucking people that you hang out that you see every week.
Which is how I was in high school too. I had like multiple different people that I would kind of bounce between.
Yeah. And my close friends, like like my circle are the people I grew up with in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
That I know will either fucking die for me or do something crazy for me.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got with that mentality.
What is your neighborhood? Is it still the same neighborhood you live in now?
Yeah. Back of the Yards on the south side.
Back of the Yards. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
You know, it's behind the stockyards.
Yeah.
So that's what they call it.
Because it's really clever naming.
I know, right? What should we name it? The Yard? It's in back of the fucking Yards. All right,
listen to fucking this. When I was a kid, my grandma that will be on the next 2 episodes.
And she's the one that lived in Chicago?
She lived in Chicago. Yeah, her story is amazing. But she, for a while, was a secretary or receptionist at a veterinary clinic. And she would take home all the animals that people would try to bring in and put to sleep, like if they were really fucked up.
Do you remember what clinic it was?
It was in North Carolina.
Oh, shit.
It was because I lived there for like 5 years of my life when I was a kid. So Fuck, what were we talking about? I
About
lost
the
my
animal
train of
hospital,
thought.
the veterinary.
No, I know, but what were we talking about before that?
About back of the yards.
Back of the yards. So my grandma brought home all these like fucked up cats, like that had like one leg or were like missing an eyeball and stuff
shit.
because she was like, oh, I don't want to put them to sleep, and she'd ask me to name them, and this is how I named cats. One was brought in by a man who sold watermelons, and so I named the cat Watermelon Man. One was found behind a pine tree, so I named it Pine Log. We had a cat named Watermelon Man and a cat named Pine Log.
So what did people think like when they came over? Like, this is my cat Pine Log?
What the
and
fuck
fucking
are
Watermelon
those
Man.
Like, you know the guy that's on the what are those? Like, I
true.
feel like that was like the moment people would come over and
these-
be like,
and
what
then,
is that?
And then like a cat comes out with like one arm or some shit. Like,
She had a cat
bad.
named Fred that had like no back legs. Its front legs were twisted and it had a broken mandible. And she'd put the food
She had to
in
like
its
feed it?
Yeah, she like
Why
manually.
she name him Fred?
Right? Because it sounds. I've always.
It sounds like a poor old guy at the nursing home that just got it
and
bad.
it was.
Poor Fred.
Yeah, Fred sounds like he's been through a rough patch in his life, and he actually
I know,
was.
that's fucking hilarious.
But anyway, back of the yard. So you were born and raised in that area.
Yeah. Lived there my whole life. I mean, because I'm married. I was married for 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, with kids and everything. So we bounced around the same area. Mm-hmm. I've never lived, I would say, farther than 5 miles of where I grew up at.
Crazy. Well, that's how my friends that live in Bridgeport
Because
are.
you just, I mean, I went to high school in Bridgeport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm always in that area. Because it's one of those things where, you know how when you leave big cities like LA or Chicago, New York or whatever, and you go to the suburbs, I've just always been a cultural dude. Like, I love art. I love street art. I love graffiti.
Yeah.
Like, I love the little corner stores.
Yeah, the
like
bodegas.
I support the bodega. You know, we call them supermercados. Bodegas are more like the Puerto Rican culture.
Gotcha.
But then, like in the Mexican neighborhoods, we have the tienditas, the small stores. Those are the bodegas. We call them tienditas. Yeah, but I just grew up around that, and that's the reason. Like, doing comedy for 15 years and not having to move out of Chicago is one of the best things, one of the best decisions I ever made. Because
Yeah.
I was at a point where I'm like, all right, I should pack the kids' shit up and leave. And then I'm like, you
don't need
things
to
started
anymore.
happen,
I mean-
and I'm still enjoying everything I grew up with.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm at the point, like, I have a home base in LA, but I'm everywhere else so often that I'm just like, this is a very
That's just
mobile
where-
career.
Yeah, exactly. And
So
when I
it
get to
doesn't
that point, I don't mind.
Yeah.
But this will always be my home. Like, even if I were to make it big enough where, okay, you can have a mansion.
You mean
in LA.
when? Speak
Well, you know, I leave it in the hands of God. I'm one of those. dudes.
when you make it big enough. But when you were a kid, like, what was your upbringing like growing up in that neighborhood? Was it a rough neighborhood?
Yeah, it was rough.
Because
We weren't poor.
It's
with
still
the good
kind
thing.
of rough, right?
It's still very rough.
Yeah.
It's still pretty fucked up. I mean, it's nothing like it was in the 90s.
Right.
Because I mean, if you look up any kind of like crime history, I feel like this. After Barack Obama became president, or when he started to run for president, the whole like crime in Chicago was out of control. You know, it was the media just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
But in 1994 alone, there was like 1,100 murders. You know, like,
Fuck.
crime back then was fucking horrible.
That's crazy.
It was so much worse, wasn't it? I mean, it was
Oh, the
It just wasn't
statistics are
fucking
publicized.
insane.
Yeah.
It was just, it's publicized more, and also it's in different parts of the city. Like, now you got people getting robbed in the Gold Coast like every
Right,
weekend.
yeah.
So of course they're gonna put that shit in the news. But there's always been murders and robberies and home invasions.
Well, and they always need some sort of city to rag on.
To
Like, if
rag
it's-
on, exactly.
If it's not Baltimore or Detroit, it's got to be.
It's got to,
they
yeah, it's
pick
got to be.
something.
And then at the city where the Democratic candidate, the first possible black
Yeah.
president ever,
Of course.
of course they're gonna be like, hey, this is
This is
what you want to vote
problem.
for. Look where he's from.
Yeah.
You know? So I feel like it's always been put in the news like that, like in a political way, like propaganda way.
Yeah,
But I will say this: like, we didn't grow up poor, which was
you
awesome.
didn't.
No, I mean we were low income. We weren't poor
Yeah,
compared to
some of the
my
other
friends.
people. Yeah,
Not even just other people. Some of my close friends, like, fucking poor, like wearing the same clothes every day to school, nothing to eat. You know, your parents are never home. You know, shitty parents, fucking just nothing. They have nothing. So I grew up with friends like that. A lot of the black families in my neighborhood didn't have a lot. So it was like me becoming an adult and having kids. It kind of made me be like, all right, we don't have a lot of money, but we find ways to make ends meet.
Yeah.
Because I saw some poor, hungry fucking kids. And on top of being poor and hungry, like I said, shitty parents. Their parents are in gangs. Their parents are drug dealers.
They're not.
Like,
they're abusive.
have you ever seen somebody sell crack to their own mom?
No.
Shit like that. I saw shit like that.
Fuck.
While I'm smoking weed with these dudes. Their own aunt and like family members.
And this is shit like, even when I talk to my grandma, because she lived in the ghetto, and she tells me all these stories like that, and she says, it's easier to have a perspective later in life about what you're going through when you've seen shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Real shit.
Like
or lived in squalor.
If you've never seen it personally or happened to somebody that you know, like your best friend in kindergarten, and you watch him just be poor all through elementary school. If you've never seen that or felt that, you can easily watch the news or watch it on TV and be like,
make your own.
They need to fucking straighten out those neighborhoods, or it's their fault. Some of these people just don't have shit. Like, they literally don't have anything.
And there's no means. There's no way to get out of it. You're like really
they're
stuck.
Poor, they're young kids. They're young, 15,
well,
16.
what would you do if you're born into that? I mean, you don't know. You don't know any better when you're a kid.
Yep.
You only know what you've got in front of you.
And what you've been seeing your whole life.
Yep. So if you're told the only way to make money is to deal drugs, and the drugs
sports.
are there, or play sport, like, that's what you're gonna do.
And then on top of that, you have like peer pressure as a motherfucker. Like,
sure.
I will say that, like, because I will admit, I was never one of those kids that got peer pressured into shit. I kind of grew up with the cool kids. Like, my brother was involved with gangs. All my friends were involved with the gangs.
Was that a problem that you weren't? Did they
no.
fuck with you if you didn't want to be in the gang?
No, because we all grew up together. We're all family.
Yeah.
That's another.
That's interesting.
Here's a big misconception about street gangs where, I mean, it does happen to a few kids where they tell you, oh, most kids join a street gang because they don't have love at home, or, they're trying to fit in. I mean, sometimes that's the case. But it's more of you're with your friends, man. Like, you grew up.
You're going to hang out with them anyway, kind of thing.
Yeah, like, what sport did you play?
Volleyball.
Since young, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure some of your best friends were on your volleyball team. Some of the people you still communicate with.
Yeah.
On Facebook 20 years later were the people that you played volleyball with. You traveled to other cities or other parks to play and compete. It's the same shit with the people you grew up with in the neighborhood. Like, the 5 guys that I grew up with. As little kids, we slept over each other's houses. And then, now we're 12, 13. We play basketball together. We've been beaten up together. We've been arrested together. So you kind of grow up in that circle. And then it's not a thing where, like, hey, you better join a gang or we're going to kick your ass. It's 5 of us, like, fuck
like,
it.
it kind of already, like,
we're
is
already
a gang.
in it, dude. Yeah, we might as well just roll with these dudes. We'll make a little money.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I came into it. I never had to join the gang, which is a good thing.
But you were kind of adjacent.
But I grew up with all of them. So every barbecue they had, any kind of shit that went down and I was around, I was there with them.
Yeah.
I had a job and a kid and everything by the time I was 18, 19. But I was still always with my boys. It was like.
So, like, what kind of shit did you guys get into? Because, I'm not ever going to pretend.
Oh, we got into some bad shit.
It's fascinating for me because I could have my other option, if I hadn't gone the route of being raised in Wisconsin where my dad was from, it would have been being raised in Chicago where my mom was from.
And you said Garfield Park?
I would have been a whole different person. I mean, who knows what I would have been like.
No, definitely. And I feel the same way. Like, if my dad would have moved to L.A. with the rest of his family.
Yeah. It's weird to think about. Like,
I used to love skateboarding. I probably would have been like some little... punk ass skateboarder on fucking drugs or something instead of.
Yeah, I mean, and all my family in Chicago turned out amazing. Like, everybody's just so awesome. So I don't think I would have been. It would have just been like a parallel universe.
Yeah, that's another thing too, though. I mean, I'm pretty sure you were raised by great people.
Yeah, I mean, even though they grew up in a rough part, everybody just kind of figured out their own path.
Like, Ken Gar, right?
Yeah.
Ken Gar. He grew up like near Marquette Park, I think. Mm-hmm. And if you go there now, you would probably be like, how the fuck did he grow up around here? But it's
his white ass.
Yeah, I mean, he does jokes about how he was all Hispanic back in the day, but now it's a lot more black people.
Yeah.
And it's still Hispanic and black people, but it just got grimier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Ken, even Ken's story is funny because the average person would see him and be like, all right, if they were, oh, you're from Chicago, you would think, oh, he's probably from Beverly.
Yeah, or like a
Bridgeport,
suburb.
or one of the suburbs. And like, no, Marquette Park, fucking 59th Street.
Yeah, which is no joke.
And his whole family, like I think his family were all firefighters. So yeah, I'm pretty sure if you would have stayed in Chicago, you wouldn't have been like fucking Natasha down with it.
I mean, who knows? Who fucking knows?
Yeah, you never know.
But
you meet the one or two friends in high school that, and then you fucking go that way.
And that could have happened anywhere. But I mean, I grew up. I had such a nice, I had a nice upbringing. It was in Wisconsin. It was in like a relatively small town. I'm like best friends with everybody that I grew up with. Still, it was.
Oh, that's cool.
Pretty like we didn't have a lot as far as like minorities. It was pretty just like white bread.
Yeah,
Wisconsin.
well, Stoughton.
Yeah,
my friend
Stoughton is where I'm from.
My friend owns the Rio Grande Mexican restaurant. My
No
friend Joel.
way.
I swear to God, he's from Little Village.
So I was just in Stoughton with my family. I did a show in Stoughton.
Stop in there, eat, and tell him you're my friend.
What
His
the
name,
fuck?
His name is Joel
Small
Cervantes.
world.
He packed his
How did
shit.
you say Stoughton out of any of the cities you could have named?
Because we did a comedy show there at his restaurant once.
No way.
He did a few of them.
I did one at BBG's in Stoughton. I just hit up the owner and was like, "Yo, since I'm
So you like grew up in Stoughton?
grew up in Stoughton."
Oh shit! Yeah, his restaurant. I mean, I'm pretty sure you heard
so
of it.
funny.
It's real. It's like the only Mexican restaurant there.
Yeah,
and it's real popular.
But now Stoughton is becoming, because Madison is Section 8 housing is spreading.
Oh, okay.
Stoughton is actually very,
It's getting
very
a lot more
mixed, a lot more diverse. Way more than when I grew up
he just
there.
celebrated his 10th anniversary of the restaurant opening there.
Yeah, so like a lot of the housing that they had in Madison is now expanding to Verona and Stoughton and Fitchburg and stuff, and
All right.
so a lot more diversity is coming in, which is interesting because I grew up there and it was just like all Norwegian kids, Norwegian and German kids.
I mean the last time I went out there was at least 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was.
Next
the
time I do
restaurant was
a
smaller.
Stoughton show, you got to come up and
let
do
me
it
know.
with me.
And
Fuck yeah,
we'll
that
go
is
there
so
and eat.
that is
His
so
food's
cool.
awesome. Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, he grew up in Little Village, so all his recipes. I mean, he drives to Chicago to get the meats, the tortillas.
Oh my God,
he comes
that's
out
so
here
funny.
every weekend to
How
stock up
fucking
everything
random.
for the
That
restaurant.
is so random.
Yeah, it is, right? Tiny town.
And and it's fun for me because I grew up in this space where it was really safe. We could ride our bikes outside. We weren't going to get into the type of danger that we would get into was by choice, like fucking with people's yards and like toilet papering and stuff. And I would hear stories about my cousins and what they would see in the south side of Chicago and be like, holy fuck,
yeah, it's
like
crazy.
I knew that there was another option, because growing up where I did, you might just not know that those things exist until you leave.
Yeah, true.
Like, so it's always interesting to me to hear about somebody that grew up in a neighborhood like that could have been like a parallel space to what I could have come from, and like hear what they got into and what choices they made as kids. Like, what did you do for fun or to fuck with people? Did you like get into?
Oh man, we did.
I'm sure you did
horrible shit.
I want to hear all about
horrible shit. Seriously, like. I mean, it was more of a thing where, well, you know the movie Stand By Me?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh God.
We literally live. I live on the block I live on. There's a railroad track. It's at the end of the block.
Yeah.
All our alleys are dead ends.
Yeah.
Because of the railroad tracks. So we grew up kind of like, both of my parents worked, and when you grow, minority families is one of those things where your mom might have 2 jobs, your dad might have 2 jobs. So in that neighborhood, the reason why it's called Back of the Yards is because of the stockyards. So a lot of the Mexican families that moved into that area worked in the stockyards, in the meat processing companies. So a lot of my friends, I mean, not even a lot of, all of us, our parents were never home. Never fucking home. So we were just in the street.
Yeah.
I mean, they would get home, like 6, 7 o'clock at night from work. But by that time, I did my homework already.
Yeah.
We'll eat real quick. And I'm like, I'm going to go play outside for a little while. Now my dad's tired. He drinks a couple of beers. He'll fall asleep. My mom's already probably knocked out. So we were just in the fucking street.
Had yourselves.
And we just had to wait till 11, midnight. That late.
Until the street lights went out.
No, until your dad is like, where the fuck are you? And I'm like, oh shit, my dad fucking knows I'm outside. It was one of those things. So when you grow up in a neighborhood where nobody gives a shit and you're just out and you have freedoms like that. I'm talking about the age of 12, 13 years old. Like 7th, 8th grade, we were already like smoking blunts. fucking like walking through the alleys, like we'll share a 40 ounce.
Damn.
You know, imagine the movie Stand By Me, but with blunts and fucking 40 ounce. The same age.
I wasn't doing it that young, but I started like 9th grade.
All right. One of my friends had a kid at 15.
Fuck.
My best friend, his kid's like, I had a job. I worked with his son. Like we had a job together. That's how old his son is.
Holy
like,
shit.
15 years old.
Yeah, I mean, it's like basically your brother.
Dude. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it was one of those, like, it was fun. We got to grow up very fast. But, like, seriously, you learn, like, the street survival. You had to have that shit because...
Just instincts?
Instincts, yeah. Because it's a neighborhood where, like, a lot of the black kids that's why I'm funny. This is the reason why I know I'm funny.
Okay, yeah.
You had to roll with these fucking dudes. Like, at school, the best roasters, the people that would talk shit were the black kids, right? And then, some of the Mexican kids too, but the black kids dominated the fucking roasting. So I grew up, the back of the yards is predominantly Mexican, but if you cross north of 51st Street, it turns all black, and I grew up right there.
Okay. 51st in what intersection?
Like between Damon and Ashley.
See, my family's all at 52nd Place in Damon.
I grew up right there.
Yeah. That's so funny. They're like literally on the other side.
Like it's so crazy.
My auntie still has the house
Yeah, there was a lot of Polish people on my block too, like back in the day. But yeah, I grew up closer to the black area. So it was just fun. I mean, it was Chicago's a very segregated city.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of cousins that grew up in Little Village and only did what they did there, like what the Mexican kids did.
Yeah. They didn't cross culture.
They didn't cross culture. So growing up where I grew up, I got to do crazy shit with my Mexican friends, like the ones I grew up with. Mm-hmm. But then I got to meet like some of the black kids who I started playing ball with or I went to high school with. Then you see the shit they do for fun. And he's like, yo, that's fucking crazy, man. Like they taught me how to play spades at the age of 13. So now, Hennessy, drinking Hennessy and fucking playing spades at 1 a.m, at 15, 16 years old. It was cool.
It's so
like,
cool. Like that sounds like something that we played euchre and drank WAP. It was like then, a parallel universe happening up in Stoughton.
Right? It's the complete opposite. But see, here's the problem with that. When you're doing that shit at 13, 14 years old, right? It's fun in games. Like, man, this is cool, man. But now you got the two friends who just got the biggest balls in the world, or they have family members that are in gangs. Like, I have a lot of family members that were involved in street gangs. Mm-hmm. So you start to get a little older, and now you're taking that shit to the next level.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yo, I just bought a gun. Now everybody's got guns. I've always had the apartment downstairs. That's where I live now. Because, just to save money and just being single and doing comedy with no fucking job.
Yeah.
I had to hey, mom, we get that apartment downstairs.
Yeah,
but,
that's cool.
like you say, you move around a lot and you stay busy, whatever. Mm-hmm. So we had that apartment was where we would kick it in my garage. Mm-hmm. Like 16, 17 years old. We got a hole in the floor. We'd stash guns in it, in my closet.
What was your intent with the guns? You just had them?
Yeah, because there was
to, show off. Everybody had one?
Not to show off. It was more like just the gangs. Every 2 or 3 blocks, there was a different gang. There was always shootings.
Yeah.
So when you start to get a little older, even people that you went to school with, like kids that you were in the same fucking class with in 5th grade, all right? Mm-hmm. Now you're in high school. Now these kids are dropped out. Now they're crazy. They're like involved in street gangs. Now the same dudes you went to school with, right? But you don't live on the same block with them. Now they're looking at you like, fuck you, you're one of the rival gangs. Even though you know the fucking guy.
And even though you're not really in a gang rivaling them for anything.
But they know who you hang out with. It doesn't even matter if you're in it. Just hanging out with somebody is going to get you fucking killed. So you kind of know who, it was a danger. We know it's dangerous. You need protection. Everybody else has guns. So it was kind of like, yo, it was a cool thing. You know how you see like these.
I just wonder.
On Instagram, like, yo, motherfucker. I mean, we didn't do that because we didn't have phones and cameras.
Like, I'm picturing people trying to, shoot. Like, did you practice anywhere?
Yeah, we just go around the fucking...
Was anyone good at shooting shit? Like, I'm picturing this, street gang going at it with each other, and they can't even hit each other. They're like, ping, ping.
That's why so many innocent bystanders get it. These motherfuckers are shooting like this.
That's why people in the Midwest are more people from straight up Stoughton, Wisconsin are more dangerous because they can shoot. Because they grew up doing actual target practice and then deer hunting and they can shoot.
We had areas. See, the thing about practicing too in that area is like if you hear gunshots, somebody's gonna call the fucking cops.
Oh yeah. Of
So,
course.
but we had these areas like on 50th and Wood. There was an abandoned house, and we called it the Honeycomb Hideout because the bushes in front just grew. And we got that from the rap group Crucial Conflict. They said that in one of their raps. You know, we dipped to the Honeycomb Hideout. So we call that the Honeycomb Hideout. The bushes in front of the house got so fucking big, you couldn't even see through the windows anymore. So we sneak in through the back, and we just sit on crates, smoke weed, and fucking drink.
That sounds amazing.
But they do gang activity, and they're like, they had to jump somebody into the gang. They do it in that house.
Damn.
And I'm just sitting there watching like a guy get his ass beat. Like, oh fuck.
You're like, this is tripping, man.
Yeah, and my brother and all my friends are like, fucking motherfucker. And like, yeah, I'm serious. And then we all go play. Even the guy that got his ass whooped.
He would
Like,
come
fuck,
to
let's
you.
go across the street, play some ball. Yeah. With a fucking swollen face.
Oh, it's so funny to picture because, like, while you're doing that, I was
gang
like getting
initiation.
drunk in cornfields. Like, that was my And
And see,
was
to
our
us, that's
parallel.
scary. To us, like, bro, I'm not going to go to no fucking cornfield. I'd rather stay here with the murders.
We'd get drunk in barns and cornfields. You were in abandoned houses, like,
Fucking
with guns.
beating people up. Yeah, spray painting shit everywhere.
And we didn't have guns. We had BB guns, which are equally as
Oh,
dangerous in a lot of ways.
BB guns.
'cause-
We all had BB guns. Yeah, all of us.
nobody knows how to shoot that shit, right? Like, everybody got shot with a BB gun.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's funny, man.
That's so funny.
But
I
we
mean,
did
it's funny more than funny haha.
Well, I mean,
but
I mean, to me, it's funny. I do a lot of jokes about this.
Yeah,
shit. You know what
I mean,
like even
it's-
my brother, my
it's
little
real.
brother, he got really badly involved. Like he did a lot of time in prison. And my brother's 4 years younger.
is it just you two?
It's no, it's three of us. I
Three
got
of
an older
you.
sister. I'm
Okay.
the middle child. But like my brother, by the age of 4, I would say, put it like this: he never got past 8th grade. He beat his teacher up when he was in second grade. He punched his teacher.
Oh my God. How
And
did he
7
reach them?
Oh, my brother was crazy. He was fucking nuts.
Yeah.
He was
crazy.
he had a short temper. He just liked to fight.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would say like, oh, a lot of the kids that grow up like that just had bad parenting. That is true, but there are just some people that are fucking wired different
Yeah.
and just love danger. My brothers always loved the thrill of danger.
Yeah.
My parents always whooped our asses. They made sure we didn't do shit like that. Even though I said that, we did a lot of cool shit because they were not there. But my dad made sure, they made sure we went to school all the time. Just my brother was just, he loved fighting. He loved dangerous shit, stealing, opportunities.
and you're
If
right.
he sees
Some people
$100, he's just like that.
Yeah.
Some people are wired like that. So I had friends that were like that too. And I'm 4 years older than my brother. So a lot of my friends, everybody wanted to be a fucking drug kingpin.
Of course.
You watch movies like Scarface and Goodfellas and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then you grow up in a neighborhood like that. So you're like, we can start a mob and shit. Like we all had that fucking mentality. We all wanted to be
Yeah.
Tony Montana.
Of course.
We all wanted to fucking.
You want to just
ever
roll
see a
around in
kilo?
piles of money.
Yeah, and like a lot of my white friends that I went to De La Salle with, like I would, like have you ever seen a kilo of cocaine? Like it's fucking crazy to see an actual kilo of cocaine.
No, I've seen a rock, but I've never seen
No, I
that
saw
much.
an actual brick of fucking
Fuck.
beige cocaine. Like it's so I had a friend that was involved in that by the time we were 17, 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Show up with a pound of weed and we're in my garage bagging it up. Remember when weed had so much seeds in it?
Oh yeah.
We had one guy just
that's what I smoked.
sifting all the fucking seeds out.
Yeah.
And then he'll pass it to the next guy bagging it up. So we did that in my garage, right? A lot. And my brother, already being wired the way he is, would see a lot of that shit. And he would drink. My brother, he was a professional fucking, like this dude, 17, 18 years old. You couldn't outdrink my brother.
Damn.
Sounds cool back then, but now he's an alcoholic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where...
Who likes danger, which
Who
is
loves
not.
That's how you end up in
That's
prison.
not the good kind of alcohol.
That's how you end up in prison, basically, for a
Yeah.
very long time. So it was kind of one of those things where it was all fucking fun and games growing up. It was cool. I have an awesome story to tell. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I got crazy stories. Like, seriously, some wild fucking
Like
stories.
what? Let's
Oh,
get
we'll
into
get into
yeah.
we'll get into a couple of them. But like, like my brother getting shot. My brother got shot in the head in my car.
In the fucking
In
head?
the fucking head. Right here in the side of the head. In my car. He got my car shot up. A car that I only had for a year. So I couldn't even drive it anymore. My first car was a Hyundai Elantra.
Which is like a nice car to have at that age.
It was because my grandpa gave me the fucking money for the down payment.
Uh-huh.
And I had a job. I was working for Walgreens and shit. So, no, this is when I was working for the city of Chicago. I just got the city of Chicago job right before 9/11
Making
happened.
that government money.
Yeah, I was balling shit. Like, all my friends were like, how the fuck you get that job, bro? Like,
Yeah.
keep selling your drugs, man. I got a fucking pension and shit.
Crazy.
So, I already had 2 kids by the... My wife was pregnant with my second kid when I had this car, right?
How old were you?
I was 21.
Okay.
No, I bought the car at 19. I was 20 when the car got shot up.
Mm-hmm.
I had just got that city job. So my brother would drop me off at the train station. And by this time, we're already involved in gangs. All my friends are known. The cops like have pictures of some of my friends at the 9th District on 35th and Low. Like these motherfuckers are, keep an eye on these dudes. They're always on some shit. One guy always has a gun, whatever. So my brother would drop me off because I couldn't drive to work. It was too expensive.
Yeah.
And I would always tell him, like, he never did anything stupid. He would drop me off and just go back home. But that fucking morning, he drops me off at the train and he goes to pick up one of his friends who's also in another gang. They go to the liquor store to buy a blunt. And while they're going back to my house, they see a kid on a bike who's in a rival gang. They get out and beat his ass. Like, they jump out of the car and beat the shit out of the kid. So they go home to smoke, do their thing. My brother, and I had this thing where I'm like, I used to call home and ask my dad, like, make sure that motherfucker doesn't take my car. Like, he would never take it. He would drop me off and go straight home. But this time, he's like, let me go take my friend home. So when he's taking his friend home, the guy they beat up is riding around the neighborhood looking for them.
Oh, fuck.
And he fucking sees the car, and he shoots the car up, like 8 or 9 bullets. One of the bullets goes through the back passenger side window and hits my brother in the head. But he was wearing a baseball hat. Another bullet that went through the trunk and through the back seat and hit his friend in the ass. Like, it went through the passenger seat. So I'm at work.
What?
Yeah, I'm at work now, right?
Yeah.
I was just telling somebody this story the other day. This is fucking crazy. So this is how much they don't give a shit about people in the hood like this, all right? So I'm at work and my mom calls me. And my mom's like, they just shot your brother. And I'm fucking like freaking out.
Do you know who
like,
they is already? Do you, like, when she said that, did you know who it...
No, I didn't know the whole story because there's so many different gangs.
Right, yeah.
And then my brother was involved with probably the biggest gang in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Who I grew up with.
So anybody it could have been anybody.
So yeah, they had a lot of rivals.
Yeah.
So my mom calls me like, they just shot your brother in the head. I mean, they just shot him. She didn't tell me about in the head or whatever. So I'm with my friend in the city van. I'm like, yo, you got to take me back. Whatever, I got to go home. They just shot my brother. So I get home and my fucking car is just shot up, right? The bullet that hit my brother, it didn't even like go into his head. It cracked his head, but the bullet bounced and like landed on his arm. It burned him. Because, you know, the bullets are fucking steaming hot.
Yeah.
So it like burned him.
What? So the baseball cap was enough? Like, slow the trajectory
the glass,
a little bit?
The window slowed it down.
Uh-huh.
And then my brother like kind of ducked at the same time. So it just didn't hit him in the back of the head. If it would have hit him in the back of the head, he would have been dead.
Yeah. But it just kind of grazed?
It grazed him.
What the fuck? It's like
I
from a
swear.
movie.
So check this out. He gets home like in a panic.
Does he not know that he's been shot in the head?
He knows.
Okay.
He knows because he's bleeding.
Yeah.
He said he was holding his fucking head, like driving, like, what the fuck, right? And his friends all like, I got shot too. So
one's holding their ass,
one's
one's holding their head.
They could have helped, like my brother could have held his ass. And he could have held my brother's head while he drives.
You drive, take the wheel, I got it. I'm plugging the holes.
Steer. Like put his finger in the hole in his head. So my brother like fucking rolls up in a panic, right? Runs up the stairs to tell my dad, like, call 911. They just shot me in the fucking head. So he's on the phone. The 911 people tell my brother, so you're mobile? You're able to move around? And he's like, yeah. They're like, the ambulance is not going to come for you. They're like, you got to get yourself to a hospital. So my brother's like, what are you talking about? I'm shot in the fucking head. The lady tells my brother, just go outside and lay on the ground and tell somebody else to call 911.
Stop.
I swear to God.
Bro.
I'm not making this shit up. When I get my brother sober enough one day, I'll bring him in and tell the fucking story. So my brother goes outside to lay on the ground. He's bleeding. So some of the neighbors see this, and now they're like, fucking Fabian's dead. He got shot in the head. Like, they're fucking freaking out. And he's on the floor like, nah, don't worry about it. Like, they're on their way.
That's fucking hilarious.
But then I couldn't drive my car anymore. It was burned. I can't drive my newborn kid in a fucking car that's
funny.
marked up.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could.
By a rival
You'd be
gang?
like the most badass dad on the block. Can you hit me with some of that?
They're going to shoot up my car when I got my baby in there? Like, fuck that.
Dude. Well, and
So check the hold on real quick. The even funnier part, I tried to go trade the car in at Gillespie Auto on like 67th and Western, right? And I'm like, yeah, man, I want to trade my car in, right? And he's like, all right, let's go take a look at it, right? And there's a black dude. And we go out there and he's like, oh, man, this car looks new. Why you want to trade it in? I'm like, man, dude, I can't drive it in my neighborhood no more. I go, my brother got it marked up. So he's walking, he's like, are these fucking bullet holes, man? And I'm like, yeah, they're bullet holes. He's like, we ain't gonna take your car, man. He's like, who the fuck is gonna buy? Like he even said it like that. He's like, who the fuck is gonna buy a car with 8 bullet holes in it, man? And I'm like, I'm just trying to get something for this fucking thing, right? I ended up just keeping the car. We kept it in the lot. We would drive it, rarely drive it, to just run to the store or some shit.
You didn't try to like patch it or something?
No,
I don't even know what you do.
When you grow up in that kind of neighborhood, that car is marked up.
They know it, yeah.
Anybody from that gang that knows the kid that shot it up is going to know that car belongs to somebody in a rival gang.
Right.
So, yeah, you don't even want to fucking drive it anymore.
Yeah.
We left it in the empty lot next to my garage. I mean, it just sat there for 2 or 3 years. We paid it off.
Can you just trade it? Can you go to like another neighborhood with a different gang with a marked up car and you trade each other's marked up cars?
Or I could have did the super fucking Mexican thing and like bought another color quarter panel and shit. You know
I was
mean?
going to say. Or,
I have a green car with a yellow quarter panel.
Or saw the top of it off. That's my favorite, the sawed off.
I could have just turned it into like an El Camino. Just like rip the whole back out off that fucking thing.
Turn it into a Jeep, man. And so, like, and you never got shot or anything, right?
No, but I've gotten my ass beat a few times.
You've gotten fucked up pretty hard.
I had to get staples in my head.
Yeah,
I've gotten jumped. I've been shot at. It's scary. You've heard fucking bullets whiz by your head. When you hear people tell you that you can hear bullets, you can hear them. I mean, loud and fucking clear. You can hear bullets flying by you.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine.
There's just there were just a lot of times where you know how you said about knowing what danger you're gonna get into. Like when you guys rode bikes, we're like, okay, we just can't get hit by a car, right?
Yeah.
But we grew up
no drunk bike riding. It was very bad. It was very bad.
We grew up knowing the dangers, but we just didn't give a fuck. Like, hey,
there's a part of your environment.
And then you're with your friends, so you got these balls, and you're like, hey, there's a party over here on 59th Street. And you're like, yeah, but there might be these dudes there. And you're like, fuck them. We're going to be 15 deep. You know, like, yeah, fuck them. And then you go and then a big fight breaks out.
Of course.
And then you go home like, why the fuck did I go to that party, man? You know, like, so I just been in so many. The night I got me and my friend Lewis, like, we almost got murdered. Like, the guy that punched me pulled a gun out of his waistband and passed it to his friend before he fucking punched me. Like, he's like, oh, you a gangster? He's like, hold this for me. And he fucking punched me. Like, he could have easily just shot me.
Yeah.
And this is by Windy City Gyros on Irving Park and Broadway.
Oh, no way. I know exactly.
Because we were just in a whole different, we were not even supposed to be over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, yeah.
At 1 in the fucking morning.
What is the difference? Like, within your own neighborhood, there's the gangs, obviously. But, like, when you go to a completely different neighborhood, then what's that? You're
fucked. Because you don't know anybody and they don't know you. You don't know what kind of shit they're on. See, that area's cleaned up now. But back in the 90s, Irving Park and Broadway was fucking rough.
Bad.
It was really bad. So, my friend Lewis is Vietnamese. And a lot of his Vietnamese family lived up north by, like, Argyle. You know where the Vietnamese people are.
By the way, I don't know if you've ever spent any time in Minneapolis, but that's where I went to college. And there's nothing scarier than Asian gang members.
Yeah, dude, these Asian dudes are wild.
They're the scariest fuckers.
Yeah, this was a gang called the Local Boys, and they were all Vietnamese dudes, and they were crazy, dude. They were fucking wild, man.
Like, they're the most agile athletes that you'll ever like.
And they're smart. Like, they're money smart. Like,
yeah.
I know, like, all my friends that would sell drugs, and then I would see like Lewis's, cause I'm like, yo, these dudes right here are selling drugs.
Yeah,
yo. They're all driving fucking Lexuses and shit. And
yep.
You're driving this piece of shit. You've been selling drugs for 10 years, man.
Yeah, like, what kind of, they're selling the high drugs.
Yeah, like they knew what's up, man. But this night was messed up because my daughter was already like a year old. No. My daughter was already like, my daughters are 4 years apart. So my oldest daughter was at least 2.5. And I had just gotten married. We got married when my daughter was already a year old. So I had just gotten married. We just moved in together. Probably been living in that apartment for a year. Mm-hmm. And it was right by McKinley Park, where me and my friends played basketball. So I got out of work late. I still worked at Walgreens at this time. Got out of work late, and I called home, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go play basketball with my boys at McKinley. And, my wife used to get mad, like, just fucking come home. You've been at work all day, and you got a new, like, fucking 2-year-old at home. I'm like, I'm just going to go play ball. That my friend Lewis's Vietnamese cousin was with us. He lives up on Sunnyside. So he's far from his house.
Yeah.
Right? He's a local boy. So Lewis is like, hey, I'm going to go drop off Lon. You want to go? And I'm like, nah, Carol's going to be pissed. He's like, come on, bro. We'll get something to eat up there.
Get that euro.
And Lon's going to hook us up with some weed and shit. I'm like, fuck it, I'll roll with you. And Lewis is my best friend. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll roll with you. So it was me, my friend Lewis. It was Lewis was driving me, my friend Joel, who's in a whole different fucking gang from the South Side. And there was like 3 different gangs in that car, basically, right?
Jesus.
And the Vietnamese guy, Lan, who's from that gang on the north side. So we drop him off. No, we didn't even drop him off yet. We're going down Broadway, and we see a taco spot. And we're like, oh, let's get tacos. So we park in the parking lot of Windy City Gyros. No, I'm sorry. This is what happened. We wanted to get gyros, but it was fucking packed. So we parked into the parking lot of Windy City Gyros. It was so goddamn crowded. My friend Lewis is like, fuck it, let's run across the street and get tacos. But we left the car in the parking lot of Windy City Gyros. So we run across the street, and then when we come back, we're already crossing the street. You see like 8 guys just coming down that street, that little side street. And they're yelling shit at us already. And the Asian guy, he already knows who they are. They're Spanish gangster disciples, the rival gang.
Fuck.
He's from where he's from. So he's like, hey, come on, guys. And my friend Lewis is like eating his taco, walking across the street really slow, like, hold on, I'll be right there. And I'm like, let's hurry, dude. By the time we get to the car, they're already surrounding us. They're asking us where we're from. And they're Latino, and there's like a couple white guys with them. Mm-hmm. So we start telling them where we're from. We're like, yo, we know these people. The only dude that was not really supposed to be there was Lewis's cousin. Like, he's the only one that's really in fucking danger because he got a tattoo on his hand and everything. Me and Lewis are like, we grew up with the same kind of gang, but on the South Side, so they might let us, they might be cool with us. So I say a gang name, and they're like, oh, you guys are cool. Don't worry about it. But then one of the motherfuckers is just like, no, they're Vietnamese. They might be local boys. It's all it takes is for one asshole. One asshole to be like, nah, let's check them. So that starts to happen, right? And it's a white dude. It's a white kid who grew up in Cabrini Green. So he's talking black as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, fuck y'all motherfuckers. He's talking like that, like he's black. And he's just talking shit to my friend Lewis. And they start punching him. Like hard.
The Vietnamese guy?
My friend Lewis, the guy that drove.
Oh, yeah.
His cousin's already in the car, like just... him and Joel are sitting in the back seat.
Shit.
And me and Lewis are outside of the car. So they're punching Lewis in the face. I'm like, no, man, chill. I mean, they're punching him fucking hard. Like, they're knocking the shit out of his face. And he's like leaning up against his own car. So I'm like, yo, chill, right? So the guy that had the gun, he turns around. He's like, I thought y'all was gangsters. You're not going to fight back? And that's when he takes the gun out. And he fucking hits me hard, right? Like, I just saw a flash. I didn't fall. I didn't fall or none. Just seen a fucking flash. So 2 more dudes, like, they start coming at me. And I'm like walking backward. And they start chasing me. And then I see Lewis jump in the car. These guys just fucking chased me. I ended up going all the way to Lakeshore Drive.
Shit.
To one of those condo buildings. Yeah. And my jaw's fucking out to here, dude. And I'm telling the dude, like, yo, man, I need to use the phone. They're like, nah, man, you need to get out of here, bro.
Yeah.
Because they're thinking somebody's going to come in there with a gun.
Exactly.
And they're like, who the fuck is chasing you? And I'm, because there's the security guard was a black guy, right? He's like, no, man, and I'm like, no, they're gone, dude. I'm like, but I think they killed my friend. I'm like, I just need to fucking call somebody, bro. So they let me use the phone. I call 2 friends. They don't pick up. I call my sister because I didn't want to call home.
Because were there like cell phones?
No, there was no cell phones.
Yeah, there wasn't anything. I had to use the desk phone. Yeah.
I had to run like fucking 6 blocks.
Being a gangster back in the day was hard.
This shit was...
You didn't even have pagers.
Nothing. You're just like, what the fuck?
This kid's got it good.
You had to pull out a map and shit. Like, all right, where can I run?
You got like highlighters circling the
Fucking
neighborhood.
you got
This
a
is
map
our.
quest.
This is where we're good.
You got a MapQuest printout in your fucking back pocket, dude. Yeah, that shit was rough, man. So my sister comes to pick me up, but she brings my mom with me, man, with her. And they're like, my mom's like crying, like, and my mom's like, your jaw looks fucked up. I'm like, it might be broken. Like, I couldn't even talk. I'm like, it might be broken.
Yeah.
My sister worked at Children's Memorial Hospital. She still does at Lurie's. So she's like, let's go over there. Maybe they could, you're already over 18, but your jaw looks fucked up. And I had no insurance. I already just got kicked off my dad's insurance. My wife has no clue where the fuck I'm at, though. Like, I'm not home yet. It's 2 a.m. now.
Yep. She
And
probably
I'm
thinks
at
you're
the fucking
dead.
hospital. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I call her, and I'm just like, look, this happened. And she's fucking mad at me, dude. And my jaw's out there.
Well, yeah, because you're scared until you know the person's okay, and then you're pissed.
Well, no, but check this out. Oh, check this out. I forgot about this part. While I'm sitting on the curb waiting for my sister to show up, right? Because we're far. I'm far from home. I'm fucking way far from home. So I'm waiting. I'm sitting on the curb by the Irving Park entrance to get on Lakeshore Drive.
Yeah.
My friend Lewis pulls up. All his windows are fucking broken out. All of them. Back window. The fucking windshield's shattered.
In the car that you guys had originally been in.
The car we were in. He ended up dropping. They never dragged him out of the car. They just beat the shit out of Lewis and broke all his windows. So they never got to pull Lon out because they would have killed him. Like the guy that was in the local boy. They would have fucking killed all 3 of them if they would have saw his tattoo. So luckily they just they kicked our asses for fun and then just fucking went on with their lives. But that he pulls up, right? And he's like, what's up, bro? I'm like, dude, my sister's already coming. I'm like, I ain't gonna lie, man. I thought you motherfuckers were dead, bro. And Lewis's face is like, his cheeks are fucking, it looks like he got diabetes or something. Like his kidneys just failed.
I know what this looks like. My cousin Ray got beat up and like literally half of his face was a different
both
person.
cheeks just fucking swole,
yeah,
man.
it's nasty.
And I'm like, damn, Lou. He's like, hey, man, we're alive, bro. And I'm like, where's Lon? He's like, I dropped him off. I'm like,
what do you even do for a face that's that swollen? Like, do you just stick your face?
Just
in
don't come out of the
Epsom
house.
salt?
Don't come out of the fucking house and put ice on it.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, me and Louis didn't come out of the house for like a week, man.
So how old were you when this happened? You were like,
I was like 20.
20. When did you start getting into comedy, or how did you figure out that that's like what you wanted to do?
That didn't even happen until 6 years after that.
Yeah, like how did the fuck did you figure that out?
Well, the crazy thing about the comedy part was I've always wanted to do it. Like since I was, a lot of people don't mention this dude as a comedy, and you know how you're like, who's your inspiration?
Yeah, right.
Martin Lawrence was my fucking comedy inspiration.
No, literally nobody has said that yet.
Nobody, because when Def Comedy Jam like premiered in, I would say 92 or 93. I'm 12, 13 years old, and that was the hottest shit on HBO, and all my friends were funny. All the funny black dudes that I grew up with.
Yeah.
I mean, we were fucking roasters. So watching Def Comedy Jam and watching Martin, one of my favorite movies of all time is House Party.
Yeah.
Like, I love House Party.
All those fucking movies were so good.
They're like, I still watch House Party a lot. Like, I fucking love House Party. So all those characters, like watching Martin in a House Party and then watching Def Comedy Jam hosted by Martin Lawrence, I'm like, oh, he already fucking funny. And then the Martin Show came out.
Yep.
That's when I was like, yo, because I felt like I was funny like that. Like, I'm good at roasting people. I'm good at doing voices.
Yeah, and like expressions.
Yeah, like if I meet somebody.
He's got like great expressions.
Crazy expressions.
Yeah.
And when I meet somebody, I can kind of like impersonate somebody pretty much off the bat by hanging out with somebody all day, right? So watching Martin do that at 13, 14, I've always wanted to do stand-up comedy. I loved fucking Eddie Murphy. Like, Delirious was the first special I watched. I used to love Andrew Dice Clay.
Delirious was so good.
Andrew Dice Clay's first special, the Dice Man Cometh, where he's saying the worst shit in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fucking 12 years old. Like, oh my God, this is genius. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So, by the time I started doing stand-up at like almost 26 years old, when it was in 2005 when I started. So I was working for the city already, which was an awesome job, right? Getting that job is kind of what took me away from the street. Like, I stopped kind of hanging out with those dudes because, you know, you make new friends. Now you're working in downtown.
Yeah.
You're working with...
Getting your shit together.
Yeah, you got your shit together. You're working with office people.
Yeah.
I mean, I read the fucking mail room and I did accounts payable. But I had to, you know, be proper and fucking... I learned how to type. I learned how to fucking use MacBooks, and I learned all that shit.
So what
a lot
happens to
faster
your
than my
friends from the neighborhood? Because you still live in the neighborhood. What happens to that relationship?
At this time, I didn't live where I grew up because I was already I was living with Carol and the kids.
Yeah.
So I lived in Brighton Park. Mm-hmm. So I didn't see them as much, but I kept. You know how you grow up and you kind of know which one, like, all right, he's fucked up. Like,
yeah.
Like, I love James. I've known him since the kindergarten, but he's going the wrong fucking route. You know what I mean? So you kind of just weed him out a little bit.
Yeah,
you know? You're like,
yeah,
hey,
naturally.
I love my friend Bam, but I can't be by his house. Like, they do crazy shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, my friend Bam, the one that passed away, he was the guy with the kilos and shit. He passed away last year. No, earlier this year. What am I talking about? One of my best friends, young, he died of a gallbladder infection. But because of his lifestyle, he's always been a big dude, you know, almost 400 pounds.
Yeah.
Always been involved with drug dealing. Always sold drugs since he was fucking 13
So
years
just
old.
physically.
That was just his life.
Yeah.
So I still hung out with him a lot when I was 23, 24. But when my second daughter started to get like, you know how when your kids know when you're not home now? Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't have kids, but
Yeah.
when they're little, you can still do whatever the fuck you want. They don't know.
Yeah.
You know, you can come in the house drunk and high. They're 2 years old, 1 year old. They don't fucking know it, right?
Yeah.
But now now your kid is like, why are your eyes red? Why are you never home? You know, like, how come you're
They
fighting
ask
with mommy?
questions,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now you're like, fuck, I need to start changing some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what made me like, all right, you don't need to be hanging out with these motherfuckers anymore. Mm-hmm. Especially after the story that I told you.
Well, yeah, because you almost.
And that's only one story.
Yeah. How
That's
many
only-
times did stuff like that happen?
I can't even count.
Shit.
How many times we've got our fucking car, like just driving the Fort City Mall, and somebody rolls up on you, just throws a fucking bottle through your window, and just starts yelling shit, and then you're like, what the fuck? We've gotten rammed, we've gotten chased, like just driving home from school, and a car
Can
comes
you
out.
imagine?
No, dude.
Like,
Fucking crazy.
I hear this. No, I know this shit. I hear this shit, and
No,
I'm
I
like,
swear-
holy fuck. And we.
I'm not making this up. Like people, I always feel like people don't understand it because you don't see it. But
yeah,
when you
people
see
don't
that shit in
know.
movies, like it really fucking happens, man. Like people just don't give a fuck in those neighborhoods.
Yeah.
What makes it fun though? I mean, have you?
Yeah, it's fun.
Living on the edge.
Bro, I mean, no. I mean, imagine you're 16, right?
Yeah.
Now in Wheaton, you're gonna be like, I'm gonna go out front and wash my car.
Right.
You're not gonna be like, hey, bring out a 40 ounce and roll a couple blunts.
No, because
Because the neighbors,
Yeah.
right? When you grew up in this neighborhood, you could do that.
That's kind of.
And it's fucking dope. You got this freedom, you know, then a car comes by and it's your friend, what up, dog? You want to hit that? Cool, man, I'm just washing the car, bro. But then that, you know, it starts to get nighttime and then you're like, all right, now it's about to get scary and shit. But
Well, I mean, that's just the think, like, to think that we got into stuff just because we were bored. And you guys got into stuff because you had to.
Yeah,
It's like
we
such
were
a
bored too.
difference. Yeah.
But that
It's
was the
such a
coolest shit to
difference.
do.
We were like, oh, we don't have anything to do. Let's go start some trouble. And for us, trouble was like, you know, peeing in somebody's yard. You know,
I mean, we did that too. We did some stupid shit
you were
like
like
that.
us on steroids.
So like, what got me into comedy was when I got that city job, I ran the mailroom. So I had to deal with everybody. Everybody came into the mailroom. That was the first position I had there. And I was just that funny dude. Like everybody that came into the mailroom.
You got to
I-
roasting them with everything you're handing out.
Well, not really roasting them. They had to deal with me like, hey, I need 1,000 copies. Because I ran all the equipment in there.
Uh-huh.
The color printer, the fucking folding machine, all the Xerox machines. I knew how to run all the FedEx printer, the UPS printer. So you had to deal with me. Like if you needed a mailing project, you might have to sit in that mailroom with me for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So then, you know, the conversation, oh, you got a baby? And then I just have people fucking laughing all the time.
That's
like, you know, it just got around like, oh, Joey's funny as shit. So my little friends, you know, you got the office friends that you go to lunch with or whatever. They would tell me like, dude, you should do stand up, bro. You fucking funny, whatever. And I was like, you know, what's funny was I've always wanted to. One of my friends gives me a flyer that he found taped to a fucking mailbox for a comedy college ran by a guy named Jim Roth. You probably, a lot of people know Jim Roth. And a lot of people shit on the guy. He's from Milwaukee, and you know a lot of comics. Not that they shit on him. It's more one of those like you took his comedy class,
Yeah.
and a lot of the assholes that did that are not even fucking working right now,
Yeah.
which is hilarious to me, right?
Of course.
So I took this comedy class, $300. All it really did was introduce me to the comedy scene. That's all I fucking needed.
Just and you because in
Just
the
to
beginning
meet-
you don't even know like
You don't
where
know,
to begin.
especially coming from my neighborhood. You have no idea. Like, I didn't even know there was a second city.
Yeah.
until I fucking got that city job. You know what I mean? Like I saw SNL. I didn't know half those guys fucking went to Chicago and studied at SNL at
Second
City.
City.
I didn't know any of that shit until I got out of the neighborhood. See, and that's what sucks about the ghetto is you're trapped. I forgot who just brought it. Oh, I think it was
It's like
Jay-Z. Jay-Z just talked about this, how they trap you in it where, okay, you live in a project building, right? And you're poor.
Yeah.
And they give everything for you. There's a liquor store, there's a convenience store, there's a Walgreens, there's a clinic, all in that little, so you don't have to leave. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Well,
you
and
have
also,
3 kids.
The problem for a lot of people too is like they don't get funding from the government if they don't stay exactly where they are, making exactly the amount of money that they make.
So
there's
instead
not
of
incentive for a lot of people
to move
or to even level up,
or they don't have the confidence or just
Yeah.
scared. Like, I can't leave. I got kids. Like, to them, it's more,
Yeah.
if I leave here, we're gonna starve to death.
It's almost like a reverse type of sheltered.
Yeah, it's kind of like
it's like sheltered in a different way.
It goes.
Sheltered
That's why.
from-
I mean, it just goes back to the fucking like the Gestapos and the fucking ghettos where give them everything right here and don't let them out.
It's just
Keep them in this little area.
That's
Keep the
crazy to
trouble
think
in
about.
that fucking area. Mm-hmm. So, and I grew up in an area like that because I didn't know a lot of shit. I have friends that have never even been to downtown. You know what I mean? Like
And it's
I know like little black kids that have never even like been to the Shed Aquarium or anything. Like they go to a museum and they're like, wow, and like, dude, this is in your own city.
Yeah, there's other things.
There's other shit. So that's all I need to do is get introduced to stand up. So when I took that Jim Roth class, I met guys like Sean Flannery, Ricky Carmona was one of my first fucking friends. He's one of my best friends. I still
Oh my God.
I stay by his apartment
Love
when I go
him.
to LA. He was, one of my first friends ever. So when I started to meet them guys and I went to the Lions Den, I would just pop into spots just to see stand up, right?
Yeah.
And I met Hannibal, dudes like CJ Sullivan, all the guys, TJ Miller, all the guys that were starting to
Yep.
build this
Yeah,
shit.
because
That's
you were
when I
starting
was
in that.
brand new.
Yeah.
Kumail. I was kind of hanging out with them when I was brand new,
Yeah.
which was cool to me because where I grew up in my head, only like minorities were funny. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
the black kid, we're the funniest motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But then I started hanging out with these dudes doing comedy. I'm like, man, these dudes are like, they come up with this crazy shit. I mean, yeah, it's alt comedy, but like I'm smoking weed with these dudes and
Well, and it's cool
going
to,
on the
like,
road with Mikey O, and you get different perspectives of their lives.
That's what I was gonna say. You get to see like why is this person funny? They came from a completely different upbringing.
So,
they can make that funny.
Exactly. And then me telling them stories like the one I just told you would make them laugh. Like, damn, dude, like you fucking went through that.
Yeah.
So that's how you get into that story.
And then you
like,
realize you're unique.
yeah, you learn how to tell a
Yeah.
story. So that's kind of when I was like, all right, I'm more of a storytelling comic. And I just stuck to that.
Yeah.
Because my dad has done so much crazy shit. I mean, we could have a whole nother fucking episode on my dad. Seriously. I started writing jokes about the shit my dad would do. My whole set would be about my dad, like back in the day.
My whole set's about my grandma for the most part.
Right? So that's kind of like, and when we were talking about earlier before we started recording, how all that shit we went through kind of leads to where you're at now. Like me having kids at a young age. Like Bill Burr gave me a shout out on his podcast on Uncensored after the taping, where he talked about. He's like, yeah, this he called me a kid because he didn't.
How
know
long ago was this?
Fucking 40. Like right after the taping. This is like in April.
Okay.
We did the taping April 18th. So he kind of explains like, oh, this motherfucker lived a life before he got into stand up. Like I already went through all that hood shit. Already was married. Already had 2 kids.
Before you even started the
stand-up.
life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I had so much shit to talk about.
Yeah.
You know how like I think about it sometimes. Like if I would have started at 18, 19, I don't know what the fuck I'd be joking about. Like I'd probably be doing
You would have
stupid
more than a
shit.
lot of people. Think about that. There's a lot of people that are in stand up that do start young and they don't have cool shit to talk about.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't relate
but
to young
that's what
comics a lot of
That's what I mean. But at 19, I probably would have had nothing but hood jokes.
Yeah.
Nothing but I'm broke. Oh, I'm from the ghetto. But when I started doing stand up, that's when I had, instead of talking about being in the ghetto, it was more of raising 2 kids being broke in the neighborhood like that. So I had stories instead. Instead of just making up, oh, I'm so broke, I did do it,
Yeah.
So I had these stories about like, like one of my jokes is it was, like people like, how did you have a kid when you were so young? Like it was cool to have a kid in the 90s. Everybody had a fucking baby in high school. I'm like, senior year, there was a baby shower every week. Like We talked about it. No. And that is fucking
That was
true.
the cool thing.
That was true. Like, there was a baby shower every fucking week. My senior year at Kelly High School.
Oh man, that's fucking hilarious. Like for us, the cool thing was to work on a farm, and for you, it was to have babies.
Yeah, like have a baby. You got a baby? I'm on a baby, man. So with that, it's kind of like I've been doing stand-up 14 years. In September will be 14 years.
Damn.
So everything that I built up in Chicago for 10 to 13 years, like while I still had a job, I always had the full-time job with the city. I got laid off in 2012. And that's kind of like I was at that crossroad because now I got 2 kids that, I mean, I have to provide. By this time, 2012 was what, 6-7 years ago? So Alexis was 14. And my youngest is 11, 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
So I'm at this crossroad where like you need a fucking job.
Yep.
Like you got little ass babies practically, right? And I decided not to. I cashed out that little shitty pension I had. I put my kids on Medicaid and through Illinois, like through the All Kids program. We're basically on fucking welfare. I just didn't have a link card.
Yeah.
And I was making enough money to feed, I had enough money. I was doing unemployment, cashed out my pension and the little shit I had in savings, right?
Shit.
But when I was working full time, I was a lazy comic, even though I was funny. I was one of the funnier, newer guys that popped in. That's kind of how I got accepted by like the cool males and them, like, you're a funny motherfucker, whatever.
Yeah.
But I was always a lazy comic, like compared to them. Always out, always getting up, performing doing free shows, doing improv.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm funny. I got this Mikey O show.
Yeah.
I'm already on.
We talked about the Mikey O thing. I mean, he had it on lock.
Yeah, I mean, he was bringing in crowds. It was a small room, but he already packing them out.
Cash, just cash,
Because
man.
he's always been a promoter.
He's been smart. I saw that coming up, and that's like, I've used
Here's what people don't know about him. He was already promoting. There was a huge event called Viva Chicago in the 90s. Huge salsa event that they would do near the planetarium. Mikey was one of the original promoters of that. Like in the 90s. So
he just knew everybody.
He had this promoter producer hustle to him the whole fucking time. He just decided can't do bands anymore. You got to travel with fucking 8-9 guys. It's easier to travel with 2 comedians.
Yeah.
With book bags, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how he trended. But it took him a while to keep the product, the quality of comedy. Because
yeah, it takes a while.
if you have
to
a
also
badass
figure out-
salsa band, they're a badass salsa band.
Yeah.
But you got 10 comics, not all of them are fucking
Well,
good.
and it's different too because with a band, it's passive enjoyment.
Yeah.
And
People are
comedy
drunk,
is
they
such
just wanna
active
dance.
enjoy. Like you have to get a crowd that actually.
You got to get their attention.
You have to teach them.
Like, shut up and listen to us. We're going to
When
make
you
you
go
laugh.
to this-
Trust us.
Exactly.
Especially with, like people that they don't know.
Yeah.
No-name comedians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Which is
working those Mikey O shows kind of gave me this lazy attitude where, I got a show next week. But as a comic, as an artist, I didn't realize, like any fucking athlete, you want to shoot 80% from the free throw line, you got to fucking practice every day. You got to be at that free throw line,
Exactly.
taking a million shots.
people are
Whatever.
always looking for a shortcut, and there's just in this business.
There is no fucking
There is
shortcuts.
not.
I mean, there are now because of social media. But when you finally get a headline gig
But
to
you
do an
better
hour,
be fucking
You better be ready.
killing it for that hour. I mean, that's the difference. Is like, sure, you can get. There's shortcuts to money. There's shortcuts to
To the fame,
notoriety, but there's
yeah.
not shortcuts
to being a
to
full-time
being a
comedian,
stand-up.
stand-up comic. Exactly.
There's not.
So the thing, when I got laid off and I had that little money, like even my wife was down with it, which is cool because she supported it the whole time. Because I'm glad I didn't have one of those wives who were like, no, fuck that. You need to provide. Because she kind of knew what I built for the 7 years while I had a job, right? So at that time, that's when I said to myself, all right, you're at home, you got a little money, just get up every fucking night. And that's when I started doing all the rooms. Like, I was popping in everywhere. Remember, I think I worked with you when I did a Pat Chase show.
Yeah.
That was probably around the time when I got laid off. I was getting up almost every fucking night.
Yeah.
Probably except Sundays and Mondays.
Well, and
because there wasn't shit going on.
That's why Chicago was such a great place to start, because I started in 2010 and I moved to LA in 2011. I was only like a year and 4 months into stand-up when I moved to LA.
All right.
But I was getting up every single night, multiple times a night.
Yeah.
And so I felt confident enough to like start over in a new city at that time. Because I was like, well, I'm going to have to do it anyway.
And
so
then not only that, but there's some funny motherfuckers in Chicago. So you're not just working every night. You have to follow some people that are killers now.
Yep.
So I doing that for 3 or 4 years. I mean, I got to a point where I probably went like a whole year straight where I got up 4 times a week.
Yeah.
And then I was doing the road stuff too. I mean, I went on the road with Felipe Esparza. I did a couple of Latin Kings of Comedy shows with them.
Yep.
I would always make my yearly trip to LA.
Mm-hmm.
I went to New York a couple times. Like I met guys like Angelo Lozado, who was Trevor Noah's opener. He got me into Gotham.
Yeah.
So I made a lot of dope friendships and relationships.
Yeah. Well, and there's
You know,
not a lot
featuring
of
at the Improv.
comics like you either. I mean, there really isn't. I don't really know a lot of people that have stories or storytelling ability like you.
Ah, thank you.
I mean,
Appreciate it.
you know, it's nice to know when you've known a lot of people over the course of time. Everybody's got their thing.
And see, that's the thing too. Working with so many headliners. I mean, not that I stole anyone's style. I was at a point too. You know how you're like, oh, I gotta find my voice as a comic. I gotta find my niche and what I want to be as a comedian. Working with guys like Bert Kreischer. I featured for him once. Tommy Davidson. You know, I was featuring for like storytelling comics.
Yeah.
Who can last an hour easily on stage, and versus the fucking one-line guys.
Yeah.
And,
That's
know,
why I like working with people like Chris Porter and stuff, because like he's like that too.
Yeah, like I would watch
storytelling.
him like, I'm cracking
Yeah.
like, Jesus Christ, fucking 45 minutes went by that quick.
Yep.
So that's kind of when I got myself into this, like, pace yourself. You're just keep adding fun, even though we exaggerate stories.
Oh yeah.
So just add a
course.
bunch of funny, goofy shit in the middle or whatever. So I started practicing on that. Like, I would ask people for longer sets. Like, I told the Improv straight up, this is why I don't fucking work for Zanies at all. Because I asked Bert, like, let me get a headline night. Because, you know, guys like Russ and Michael Isaac and Calvin were already headlining. Mm-hmm. I asked Bert, and he's like, oh, you know, we'll just keep you at feature where you're at. I didn't get mad, but I asked the Laugh Factory. As soon as I was done with that conversation, I hit up Emily. Mm-hmm. Emily, let me do a fucking headline night on my birthday. They said yes right away.
Yep.
So they put my name on the marquee.
Yep. Laugh
and then
Factory gave me my first.
Bert just cuts me off. Like, just stops fucking booking me. And I would feature his clubs 4 or 5 times a year. All of them.
Uh-huh.
Just stops fucking booking me. So that night, I did the headline night at the Laugh. That was probably my first, outside of a Mikey O show, it was probably the first headline night that I did at a club where I did 45 to 50 minutes. And it went by so fucking easy.
Isn't that
because
crazy
the
when it
2 years-
changes? It's so
The
nice.
2 years of busting my ass every night, it was so fucking easy.
Yep.
And then the Improv gives me a Thursday night, right around my birthday the next year. A bunch of people came out to check me out. Easy. Another easy 50 fucking minutes, like nothing.
So crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and
And that was from getting up every
Every-
fucking night and just working out longer stories, adding more tags.
Yep.
You know, people are always like, oh, I wrote a whole new 5 minutes. Like, dude, you don't even have a solid 10 yet. Why are you writing 5 more?
yeah, exactly. Like work that first.
Stretch that out a little.
Yeah.
There's ways to...
There's ways to do it.
Oh
and-
yeah, but I don't want to say the same jokes. Don't do the same fucking room all the time then. You know?
yeah, change it and
Go do a shitty room for free somewhere just to work the jokes in front of people.
yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
Finally getting to a point where I'm, you know, able to do an hour. I never thought. I was like, fuck, an hour? How does anybody have an hour? And then now I'm like, damn, that's so
And even if you-
cool. You know?
yeah, I mean, as a comic, you know, like people like, you know, like, how much time you got? I got an hour. Wow. Like, I do. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a fluke. I fucking worked on it.
Well, and I was just talking to a girl last night because, you know, I try to give people as much advice as I can because, you know, nobody really knows how to manage a career like this. Everybody's got their own way.
I'm still trying to figure out how to fucking manage it.
Right.
14
Everybody's
years
got their own
later.
way. And, that's why, you know, and like a lot of the issues with clubs that you brought up, you know, there's a lot of politics involved with different clubs. LA's got its own nuances.
Yeah, that's a whole different
like
one.
it's a whole different
LA's a whole different level
whole
of
different fucking
politics.
bunch of bullshit. And so that's why I started doing all my own tours where I just find like these great venues and I just do all my own to my
Because
own
you get
audience.
to work on your shit.
And then I get to relax into my hour. And then if I want to do an hour and 20, then I can, you know.
And then when you go back to LA and then somebody does give you a spot at the Improv or the Laugh Factory, your shit is solid because you've been moving around
you've got
working
that
on
tight
stuff.
10. You got, I mean, and so, I mean, it's just getting to a point where you can create your own opportunities is like the best part of this career.
Yeah,
I
and
feel like.
What's the I think the dopest part about like doing it for 14 years and the way technology is now, like when I started, I mean, I had to like run to Best Buy and buy a fucking Casio camera because I had like a shitty Nokia phone. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
And I had to run and buy like a $150 camera because everybody had to have a camera.
Yeah.
You know, and I would bring it with the tripod and I would record shit and just to, you know, like, but then there was really no social media when I started.
Yeah.
So I'm now I got a SD card with shitty jokes that I'm like brand new. And I'm like, there's nowhere to, who am I going to show? There's nowhere to upload this shit.
I know.
Like,
I know. It's
I'm going to walk around like, hey, check out my jokes on my phone. On my
so
camera.
badly. I want to have like a night. I want to do this in like every city since I have comedian friends that live fucking everywhere now. But where we show our old footage.
Oh, I got a bunch on
Me
DVD.
too on DVDs.
We need a DVD
I have
player,
a
though.
whole DVD like case full of it, and I bet it's just so painful to watch.
It is painful, but I'll say this because
But,
I watched a couple on my MacBook last year. They're painful to watch, but there was a couple of bits in there where I'm like, yo, that was funny. Like, and I brought a couple back.
That might actually be good because
I brought a couple back. Like,
I might actually need to revive some old because I just
because
shot
you're
my,
a better comic now.
Well, and I just
you
shot
might
my,
have had an awesome fucking premise. You're just a better comic now.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and I'm at the point now where I'm trying to work on my next hour. That's what this whole tour that I'm on now has been about.
that's what I'm doing right now.
Because I just shot my special, and by the time that comes out, I want to be able to headline with at least 20 to 40% new material that
that's
isn't
not
on
that's
that.
not on it.
Yeah.
See, that's exactly what I've been doing for the last month and a half.
Yeah, and it's hard to figure out what that thing is you want to say next because, you know, I set myself up very interestingly with the first one because it was on my wedding day.
All right.
And it's called I Was Supposed to Get Married Today. And so it's geared towards that. So I'm like, fuck, what's the little weird niche of my next special
Yeah,
going to
true.
be? Like,
And see, mine, what I'm doing now is because my album, it hasn't been released because all this Bill Burr shit happened.
yeah.
And I was just like, yo, I got to hold on because now it's more like I want to release something after the special airs.
You need the right time. Mm-hmm.
So now everything that I'm working on now is not on that album because that first album is it's more about just me, like Joey from where I'm from or whatever the fuck. This new hour that I'm working on is all about how I had my kids and how I, like the
And
whole
raising
process of raising them.
The dad perspective.
Like
yeah.
having a kid at 19
Yeah.
is fucking insane, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm, like, that's the whole new shit that I'm talking about
Yeah,
now.
that's cool.
Which is pretty cool because I've been working on a lot of stuff. But the thing about the whole storytelling, like you say, that's what's awesome about storytelling, where it's kind of easy to put together
Yep.
a 40-minute set because there's ways to slow down. Mm-hmm. You know, like if you're gonna do a joke about your dad, and then there's a moment where you could get sentimental, like my dad, and then you fucking hit him with all the funny shit.
Yeah.
So there's ways to just pace yourself.
Exactly. And that's what I love about storytelling.
And that's why I love Chicago, because when I got back from my last trip, well, I'll get into that before we wrap it up. I don't know.
Yeah, we do need to
Okay.
wrap up, actually.
But all right, just basically to simplify it, all them years of working my ass off and building material, right? Now the Laugh Factory Chicago is starting to do what the Hollywood Laugh Factory is doing, where they record your Saturday night sets because that's their hottest night. Mm-hmm. So you're getting fucking roars. Like if you're crushing,
Yeah.
I mean, you're
It's
fucking
so
crushing
good.
on Saturday
Yeah.
night. You've seen how it is on there,
Yeah.
right? So shout out to Matthew Bright from Laugh Factory Chicago. He starts doing that. Mike Crowley's recording them. Matthew's chopping them up and uploading them, whatever, right? The joke about my sister being a vegan goes viral through the Chicago Laugh Factory Instagram page. I'm talking about 800,000 views in 3 days.
Yeah.
Shit starts going viral.
Yeah.
Right? And it's because I solidified that joke. It used to be a bit about, my sister's a vegan. And she was in a gang. And that was it. But building it into a whole, it's it's almost like an 8-minute bit, the whole fucking joke. It's a long bit. But it's funny. Like, every point of it is fucking funny.
Yeah.
So they chop it into a small, like, 2-minute clip.
Yeah.
And Bill Burr ends up seeing it. So, you know how when you wake up in the morning, you're, like, in bed, like, on Instagram and shit?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm doing that, right? Like, it's fucking early, like 8 in the morning. I'm just like, and I get the little notification at the top of my phone. And it's like, message from Wilfred Burr. And I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. And this happened in March. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here, right? So I open and it's Bill fucking Burr with the blue check and everything, right? And he was just like, hey, just came across some of your stuff online. funny stuff, love your style. That's all he said, right?
And you're like shitting your pants.
yeah, like,
You're like,
I'm like, oh shit. No lie, was like a girl I just met. Like, how do I reply? Like, I gotta let it marinate. I gotta think about it. I want to
Yeah.
look cool. I want to look like a little fucking punk replying to Bill Burr. I don't want to look thirsty and be like, thank you, Bill Burr. You know, like right away. You know, like make it look like I'm busy.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, I was
Yeah.
busy. That's why I didn't reply right away.
it is. It's like a dating app. Almost.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? So, and you know, a lot of people shit on Bill Burr because of his, you know, his views and all he's misogynistic or whatever the fuck. I'm an old
I've
school
never
dude.
thought that at all.
I mean, I've heard it. Even
No
my
one's
daughter's.
saying does.
Oh my
my
god!
daughter has given me
the
shit.
overly feminist thing bugs me. But anyway, it's like he's fucking funny.
He's
dude.
funny as fuck, and we
leave him
share.
alone.
We kind of have that. I go on rants. He goes on rants. So we kind of have that
Fuck
similar
yeah.
style.
No, I love
He just
that.
had a baby. So I reply with, I'm like, thank you, Bill. You know, I'm like, honestly, it's kind of an honor because I'm like, I've been a fan of yours forever. And that's all I said. 2 days later, I'm on my way to Nashville. I'm driving to headline the Comedy Bar. And Chris Higgins is with me. So I'm driving. I'm just checking emails. And I get a fucking email notification, right, on my Gmail. And the headline, the subject is ATC / Comedy Central offer for Joey. And it was an offer. So I open it and it's like, dude, no audition. We're offering you a spot on Bill Burr new series that's taping, blah, 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 with all the information. And I'm like, reply yes or no. I'm like, yes, motherfucker.
Which
like,
is so cool.
yeah, I'm in the car fucking freaking out, right?
Well,
And you know, I'm not even freaking in my head. I'm freaking out, and I'm like, Chris, dude, what the fuck does that say? And he's reading it. He's like, dude, and he's like, yeah. And I'm just driving, like, he's like, what the fuck? I'm more excited than you are. I'm like, just trying to like fucking soak it in right now.
Yeah. No, and it's so cool how stuff like that can happen. Like, you know, people rag on different clubs and stuff for like putting out your material and not paying you for it. But here's the thing. It pays off.
It pays off. It like
The
seriously.
exposure alone, like even just my Laugh Factory clip went pretty viral as well. It had like
And you get
a couple
followers.
million views.
You get a couple hundred followers out of this
I
shit.
got like 3 or 4 million views. I
Yeah,
got
the one on the Hollywood Laugh Factory got like 2 million views.
Yep, and I was at the pool in Las Vegas. This is how I ended up starting the Vegas conversation with allowing this to become a show in Vegas. I was at the pool in Vegas, and a group of dudes came up to me, and they were like, "I'm sorry, are you Natasha Pearl Hansen?" I'm just sitting by the pool,
Right?
And I was like, "Yes," and they were like,
I saw
"Oh
you
my
on the.
God,
I saw you on the fucking
we
Hollywood
love
Laugh
your
Factory.
clip on Laugh Factory," and I was like, "What?" You guys want to come to the show tonight?
Right?
And I like brought this whole crew.
And now you just made their fucking day now.
Yeah,
Like,
but like
she gave us free tickets.
We're starting to
and not
get
like
to
you
the-
have fans for fucking life.
yeah,
dude.
and you start to get to a point where people start to recognize you from stuff. Like it actually does feel really nice.
No, it's
like
dope.
you're
It's
like,
fucking
oh,
dope.
it pays off eventually. It pays off. All the hungry days I had and all the shitty beer I drank.
No, it
pays
literally
off.
fucking does, man. Because like when we were talking about having the kids young, how it led into this shit.
Yeah,
My storytelling jokes is what made Bill Burr like my shit.
yeah.
Cause he went to my YouTube page. He went to the Hollywood Laugh. I got like 8 clips on the Hollywood Laugh Factory YouTube page.
Yeah.
and they all have either 1 million views or more, or almost 1 million views.
Yep.
So he went to all those clips, and I got jokes about my dad doing cocaine. I got a joke about my dad like having a fucking other, like the chick
Yeah.
brought the baby to my mom.
Yeah.
and handed my dad's other baby to my mom, dude. Like I got shit like that out there, and he saw a lot of that shit.
Well, and that storytelling ability, like you have, or like Bill has, or like Joe Coy,
Yeah,
like he, like just really, like it fucking resonates
People
with
want to
people.
hear real shit that people went through.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, even if it's the most wild shit, to them it's holy fuck for real.
Yeah.
It's like reading a book or like watching an episode or something.
yeah, and to know that it's true, that it's based in truth,
Right?
is such a because that's what I like to hear too. And
Yeah, I feel like there's just other ways to connect with people than like when we talk about Trump supporters. Mm-hmm. I got friends that are still Trump supporters, and yeah, we argue. And I mean, I know they're not fucking racist. They're just they're to me like they're fucking a little dumb, all right? Like you're believing what this asshole's saying. So we rag on each other. It's more of like we rag on each other. We're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
seriously, bro, you're down with that shit? I'm just saying, man. You know, I'm sick of the fucking. sick of the machine, you know, whatever.
Yep.
You know, like there's a like with storytelling, there's an aspect where even if you don't like someone's
You
views
can't
or whatever,
argue with it because it's their perspective.
and if it's an interesting story, you still listen to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why, like, I like entertaining white people that have never heard ghetto shit.
Yeah.
Because they walk away, they're like,
Holy fuck.
but on top of that, they walk away like, wow, there's really nice people in the ghetto too. It's not just all pieces of shits. There's people raising their fucking kids in the hood. You know what I mean? Like, so you kind of view shit in a different way. When you're telling an actual story that happened to somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's like, even we did one-on-ones with Bill Burr. Like on the Tuesday before we did the actual comedy taping, we all did one-on-ones with him. Like we sat at a bar with a fake beer. It's all for B-roll footage.
Yeah.
But all the questions he had, we did an interview with Jay Larson over the phone prior to this, so they can get Bill ready with questions or whatever. So everything he was asking me was about growing up with my crazy dad who loves rock and roll, because Bill loves rock and roll. So that's kind of how we connected, and like now we're fucking friends. So like we're like literally friends. Like I can text Bill and we fucking text each other like news articles.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
shit.
do you ever
It's
think
fucking
that
weird.
5 years ago? Did you ever think that would be
No,
your
I
reality?
still get nervous. I
know.
like, fuck, I gotta text Bill right now. I hope he replies, and I know he's gonna reply. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all that shit that I did for 10 years as a fucking family man, as a comedian, working for the city, all the bad shit that happened to me led to Bill Burr liking my fucking jokes and giving me my first stand-up opportunity on TV. Like, it all led to that. And it all fucking, it was all found on Instagram. All on Instagram. That's why I tell these fucking people,
It does
put your
matter.
shit on
Put your
Instagram.
shit on Instagram. I had some people message me about a year ago.
Good shit though. Don't put some fucking clip that's not going to make you look good. But if you have hot shit, put it out.
Yeah.
Because that's where people are watching. Hashtags, they're following this shit.
Yeah, and people have messaged me for years and been like, why don't you put clips on Instagram? And I was like, part of me was like, well, I wanted to wait until I had enough
No, just short.
1 minute clips to just put out a lot,
Just samples. I've cut like how Andrew Schultz. I mean, Andrew Schultz will put out like a whole bit sometimes.
Yeah, he'll put out a whole special. On
And I watch all of them. They're fucking hilarious. But like, there's like, I would just chop the beginning, the funny part of the beginning. Just put that up.
Yeah,
40 seconds, just so. And in the caption, I'll put like, go to Hollywood YouTube page.
Yep.
To see the whole clip.
Yeah.
Or go to mine, and I end up getting subscribers.
Yeah.
Like there's just lead them into something else.
Yep.
And the shit works. You know the All Out show with Rue Jude on Shade 45?
Yeah.
He saw the same clip 2 weeks ago. Rue Jude, the host of the show. He's from Chicago. He used to come out of the Jenny Jones show.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up watching Rue Jude. Shares my clip, but I changed my Instagram handle. So he tried to tag me, but it wasn't highlighted because I changed my name. So he's like, what's my man's IG? The fucking thing got 30,000 views like in 3 hours. I got 600 followers in one fucking night through him sharing that. Now I'm going to be a guest on his show on September 20th. Like, I'm going to be in LA.
See, I mean, it's just cool how
like
it all
on
works.
Friday, on his hottest fucking night.
Yeah.
Like, and the producer
In
emailed
LA?
me. In
I
LA.
want to. Can I come? I'll be there.
Yeah, I'll get the information.
Yeah, let me know.
They're going to email me
I'll
next
come-
Thursday.
Yeah, I
with all the info.
want to come and
it's in West
hang.
Hollywood.
Yeah, totally. Because I'll be home then.
But the producer, he's like, make sure you square it up with that girl that emails you. He's like, because Jude really wants you on the show.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of the same. He was a big shit talker. I was a shit talker. And like, I'm excited to get on the show with him.
It's so
and get some
awesome.
more fucking followers.
Fuck yeah. Okay, what do you have coming up that you want to plug? This will come out on Tuesday.
All right, cool. September 20th on Shade 45 Sirius XM, 3 p.m. Chicago time, 1 p.m. LA time. I'll be live on the All Out show with
Sweet.
Rue Jude. I don't have the exact day yet, but January will be the new series, the new Bill Burr. It's a comedy series, kind of like Premium Blend. A lot of people are bringing me up like, he
cool.
has a new special. Like,
No,
it's not my special.
that's going to change your life.
Oh yeah, I'm already in talks with other shit. We'll talk about that some other
Yeah.
time. That's why I'm going back.
No, it's good. It's going to be good. I get so excited. Like,
I'm excited.
I have never had the mentality where I look at other people's success and been like, oh, I should be getting. Never. I
me
literally
either.
get so fucking happy.
Me either. I used to be like, fuck, I need to do something different.
Yeah, that's what I'll think
That's
for
how
myself.
I've always
I gotta
thought that way.
shift gears. I get so happy when I know good people that have worked their ass off are getting the shit they deserve.
Yeah, like I did the fucking Comedy Store main room in the sold out show just from having a meeting with the CEO of All Things Comedy. I'm
Yeah.
at the office, and the guy that runs their social media is on the series with us, Brenton Biddlecombe.
Yeah, Brenton is such a
So he's
sweetheart.
like, he's like, oh, you look familiar,
He's
or
so
whatever.
good too. He's so funny.
And he's like, yeah, you guys are in the series together. And I'm like, oh, shit. What are you doing tonight? You want to go up at the store? And he shows me the lineup. It's like Jeselnik, Bobby Lee, all these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck yeah. And then they throw me up.
Yeah.
I did 12-minute set. I brought up Jeselnik, and I fucking murdered it.
And I love Jesselyn. He's a pal
He's a
of
cool
mine.
dude. Like, he
He's
shook
so
my hand.
great.
He's like, funny stuff.
No, he's so
Steve
cool.
Byrne, Santino was there. Harlan saw me kill. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was in the fucking car. Like, I took an Uber. Then I did a Hollywood Laugh Factory after that with Godfrey and some other killers. But in the
Godfrey's
Uber
a
ride,
good friend too. He's amazing.
yeah, he's awesome. He's from Chicago too.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole Uber ride, like, I was kind of in awe in the sense where I used to try to get on that potluck. They would treat you like, who are you? You got to sign up and fucking
Yeah,
wait.
and now you
I
just
fucking
bypassed
walked
it.
in
Yeah.
here.
You're like, pew, pew, pew,
I'm with All Things Comedy, man. Bill Burr
it's
called
so
you
good.
to put me on this.
It's so good.
So there's this satisfaction of where you feel like somebody finally recognized your fucking work.
Yeah.
That's aside of making millions, if I hope I do one day. But aside from that, it's kind of like somebody finally fucking realized that all this shit I've been doing, it's funny. It's
Yeah.
legit shit.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So that was the biggest takeaway from that shit. So,
absolutely.
So check that out, and follow All Things Comedy too. I'm part of the All Things Comedy family, man. So
And
check that out.
And
on Instagram and all that shit.
what's your Instagram handle?
Joey V Comedy. Very simple.
Yep.
That's why I changed it. Joey V Comedy. Facebook too. I don't have a website yet. All my shit's going through Instagram. I fucking shout out to Instagram. That's where it's been happening.
Pew pew. And you can follow my podcast at Future Role Model on Instagram or at Role Model Pod on Twitter. Come to my live show in Vegas. It launches on September 16th. It will be
shit.
every single Monday until it doesn't exist anymore. But hopefully it'll go for a long time. Shout out also if you want to sponsor anything and we can talk. And you can find me at MPH Comedy. Currently, it's People of Comedy Network, right? At
Yes.
People of Comedy Network.
Also, on
Yes.
People of Comedy Network, Joey has a podcast.
Yeah, me
Yes.
and another Chicago comic, Abby Sanchez, who's also fucking hilarious.
And tell the name of it because I love this
We
podcast.
have a podcast called The Legal Aliens Podcast.
So clever.
I'm Mexican. I was born here. He's Puerto Rican. He was born in Mexico. So we're technically both fucking legal in this country, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
For all you bigots, you can't do shit.
And any closing final remarks, last words?
No, Natasha, thank you so much for having me on the episode.
Thank you for
Or,
being here.
This was fun.
Amazing. This was actually the perfect storytelling lead-in to releasing my 2 episodes with Grandma.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah, true.
'Cause
Those
it was
were
just-
so fun, dude.
Yeah. So this was the perfect. This worked out so well. So I'm really happy.
Well, thank you so much again for having me.
And thank you,
Appreciate it.
People of Comedy, for letting me guest tape here.
And thank you both for coming.
Yeah. Thank
I'll
you.
see your ass next week,
Thanks all
James.
around. Let's just jerk each other off with thanks. And on that note, I'm going to end.
I'm so honored to be on your
Peace.